Hello, I hope you're doing well this day. So today, the topic I want to talk about is related to those people that are kind of in their journey of losing weight. So today I'm specifically talking to people that are wanting to lose weight or in the midst of losing weight, and hopefully give you some information that you'll find helpful. So often when people set out to lose weight, they have something in their mind of a reason as to why. It's an upcoming wedding or a school reunion or something like that. It's usually something related to like a time and place in the future. The problem with this is when you set your goal of losing weight related to that kind of context, that when the event happens, you kind of lose your motivation to continue to lose weight or to stay where you're at. So I think it's important, first of all, that in your strive to lose weight and then maintain a healthy weight, you really need to do it for yourself. And what I mean by that is you need to develop a kind of a why you want to do this that's very personal and dear to you, and really uses that to kind of drive your motivation. So there'll be an internal factor, not an external factor. So the first thing you got to do on your weight loss journey is to understand why you want to lose weight. And I don't mean a superficial to fit into this outfit or because of this event, but it's really, long term and creating something sustainable. So you may want to lose weight because you're concerned about your health and you want to be able to play with your grandchildren and support your family, things like that. But you really have to have a very personal why as to why you want to lose the weight. But then, once you understand why you want to lose weight, there's some things you can do that's going to help you along this way. And the first thing you got to do is you got to have a plan. I tell people all the time that, failure plan is really just a plan to fail. So the first thing you got to do is have a kind of a weight loss plan. And it's going to have things in it that are specific and things that are measurable. And they also have to be things that you can attain. So they have to be realistic. It's important to have a time frame associated with your plan, and then basically what are the steps you're going to do each day to achieve your goals. So kind of a very detailed plan. So that's the first thing you got to have as a plan. Another thing that will help you along on this journey, though, is really to get a mentor or a coach, someone in your life that can provide you support but also guidance in times that you may be struggling with something. So finding those individuals in your life that are going to add value and help you be successful is really, really important in your weight loss journey. Next thing you can do in your weight loss journey is really just choose food items that are really as natural as possible. What I mean by that is kind of unprocessed foods. So think of it, when you go to a grocery store, you can buy highly processed things, or you can buy kind of whole food, fresh things. And the more you can stay to the natural things, the whole food, fresh, the more likely you're going to be successful and you're going to be healthy. Now, there's things you can do. You can talk to a nutritionist or a dietitian related to that. You can also there's numerous online communities where you can kind of act to support each other, but also throw out your questions or things you may have, and they'll be able to give you some feedback. But the important thing is to really create kind of this support network kind of around you. Next thing you can do really on your weight loss journey is you got to find activities you enjoy. Now, often you've heard me say that exercise is kind of a four-letter word to me, and what we really want you to do is be active. And so that means doing things that are going to give you that benefits of exercise, but you approach it in kind of a mindset that it's pleasurable and something you're going to want to do. So, as you're on your journey, it's important to find activities that you are going to enjoy, but they're also activities that will increase your heart rate, kind of produce what you're looking for with exercise, and then you need to do it frequently. And again, as you're setting goals, you've got to remember you've got to have goals that are achievable, but then you also have to have goals that reward you in obtaining those, and then the time frame of attaining those need to be relatively short. So you may say your long-term goal is to lose 50 pounds, and if that's the only goal you have, it can be really frustrating because you have no real rewards along the way that get you to appreciate that. So if that's your long-term goal, then you may set a short-term goal of losing a pound a week or something like that. That's going to allow you to measure and monitor in that shorter time frame, and then it's going to allow you to celebrate those wins as you go on, and that's going to kind of reinforce your behavior. So break your large goals into smaller attainable goals. Now, when we're talking about weight loss, the reality of it is you really shouldn't strive to lose more than 1 or 2 pounds a week. Any weight loss in excess of that is probably unhealthy to start with, but secondarily probably isn't what you're looking for in the context of fat loss, and probably more water loss and things like that. So you got to be realistic in what your goals are. And again, like I said, with your goals, you've got to celebrate the wins. So you got to break your large goals into smaller goals that allow you the opportunity to have kind of that constant celebration of being successful. So maybe it's doing 30 minutes a day of whatever activity, and as you do that each day, you're going to celebrate that. But it's really important that you're really creating this mind frame of celebration on the days you win. Now, the flip side of that is don't be hard on yourself and beat yourself up for those days that things don't go just as you planned. I mean, you are a human, and everything's not going to be perfect every day. So the days you find things off course, maybe you missed your workout or you didn't eat as well as you'd like to, don't let that completely derail you. Learn from it, try to investigate what happened. But at the end of the day, don't let that derail you completely. Consider tomorrow's a new day. I'm going to start fresh. And the biggest thing, when I talk to people is you cannot be so hard on yourself, because you're going to have days that things don't go as you wanted them to, and how you respond to them can really have a big impact long term. The next thing is you got to be patient. So I already told you, 1 to 2 pounds a week is really the maximum weight loss you should really consider. But really be patient. Think about wherever you're at in your health and wellness journey. Well, it took you some time to get there. So if you want to move the needle, it's probably going to take some time to move that needle. So the important thing is, remember, is consistency. Consistency is the game changer here. So be patient, work your plan, and then be consistent in your plan, and just give time for things to kind of work out. So another thing that when we talk about weight loss is people often kind of go through this diet roller coaster. They'll be doing well for a period of time, and then they kind of start going back to their old ways, and they quickly realize, well, I've gained back all the weight that I've lost, and in fact, I've probably gained back more. And so what can we do to prevent this kind of roller coaster, if you will? Well, the first thing you can do is really pick a diet plan based on something that you enjoy and something that's long term. Don't look at it in the context that I'm going to do this for 12 weeks and then go back to however I was, but really it's about a lifestyle. It's about how can I eat that's healthier, and then it's something that I enjoy so that I can do this really for the rest of my life. So you got to choose your diet for long term. Anytime you are on a heavily restricted diet, those diets are just not going to be very successful for anyone. So really, if you're looking at the diet you're selecting, remember, it's got to be something that you're going to enjoy, and it's something you're going to be really able to do the rest of your life. Also, as you go along, it's important to exercise. Often people will reach their goals and then they back off their exercising. But the important thing is you need to continue to exercise even after you reach kind of your weight goal, and help kind of continue that health and wellness journey. Next thing is when you're setting your goals, specifically when it's related to weight, if you've done this, you'll notice that your body weight can fluctuate quite a bit week from week. That doesn't necessarily mean you're doing anything wrong and there's anything you need to do differently. It's just what it is sometimes. So the nice thing to do is maybe set more of a target that's a range, not an actual number, because you're going to find yourself really discouraged if you pick a very specific number, because there's lots of variables that can have an impact on that weight. then again, it's important, on this health and wellness journey, that you really surround yourself with a good support system, finding those people that are there to help you and support you and encourage you along the way. That's very important in helping drive the motivation, but also helping you kind of maintain your drive by kind of publicly committing to what it is you're trying to do. Whenever you state your goals publicly, you're more likely to actually reach those goals. So again, the support system is extremely important for you. And again, remember, you're human. You're going to have days that things just don't work out. So don't let that completely derail you or destroy you. So understand that there's going to be times you're going to eat stuff that in retrospect you feel like I shouldn't have eaten, or I missed this workout. Just don't make that be a consistent pattern. When those happen, don't let them happen again the next day. And so it's important that the consistency is what's really important here. Then another big thing is when we're talking about weight loss and diet is often, as I already said, restriction is kind of the theme, and that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes it's really not as much restriction as really making sure you're eating healthy things. So you need to try to eat plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables. And so what I'm telling you, that I'm not telling you to take things out of your diet. I'm telling you to add things to your diet. You're going to want to eat lots of fresh fruits and vegetables. And so really try to add those to your diet as much as possible. Now, another thing that people encounter that creates some resistance for them or frustration in any diet where they're trying to lose weight is basically a plateau period where nothing's changed, but all of a sudden your weight is not changing, but you haven't really noticed anything in your activity level or even in what you're eating. So there's some things you can do if you're finding out that you're kind of in that plateau phase. Well, the first thing is to make sure there's no hidden calories that you're consuming. And what I mean by that is, are you going back for second helpings on things? Are you having some snacks that you aren't really paying attention to? It's really important that to monitor this. I recommend a diet journal or some type of app or something like that you can basically document or record what it is you're eating. Another thing you can do is, if you're plateaued, is to really make sure that you're measuring your portions. Often we don't have a very good ability to guess portion size. And so if you're finding that you're plateauing, then you really probably need to measure your portions better and see, am I really eating that, 6 ounces of steak, or is it really 10 ounces of steak? But things like that, you've got to really measure your portions if you're falling into that kind of that plateau phase of your kind of weight loss. Another thing you can do if you're plateauing is just really slow down. And what I mean by that is when you're eating, if you really just make a conscious effort to slow down, like you're chewing, things like that, setting your fork down between bites, things like that, that's going to give your body time as you're eating to realize, hey, I'm full and I don't need to eat more. Whereas if you're in a rush and eating real quickly, you're able to consume a lot of calories that you probably didn't need, but your body just hasn't had the time yet to tell your brain that you're full. Then also, there's probably certain foods that you just want to avoid. Now, you're going to have to kind of look at this as a research project, and you're the research subject, because how you respond to different foods is really going to be individualized. So, there's things you're sensitive to, common dairy products or wheat type products, things like that. Do these cause problems with bloating, things like that? But there are probably foods that you're going to want to avoid. Another thing you can do to help with your plateau is really start your day with a nutritious breakfast, and that's really, really important, because that's going to help you throughout the day by promoting your metabolism, things like that. But really start your day off right if you're plateaued. And then again, if you're plateaued, the fresh fruits and vegetables, extremely important. You want to, get at least 7 servings of fresh fruits and vegetables a day. That's going to help you. There's lots of fiber, there's other micronutrients that's really going to help you if you're plateauing. Another thing you can do both in weight loss in general, but if you're at a plateau period, is really make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Often we think we're hungry and really we're thirsty. So make sure you're monitoring your water intake and make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Another thing you can do is really kind of focus on your proteins. The body really, when it comes to metabolizing carbohydrates and fats, it's much more efficient there. And actually proteins, the body has to work harder to digest them. And so if you're consuming more protein, then that means you're basically making your body work harder, which will burn more calories. So really be aware of what your protein intake is. And then again, activity, I'll say exercise, but again, when I say exercise, I mean activity, something you're going to enjoy, something you'll do daily, but really looking for that something that you're going to be able to do, for a minimum of 30 minutes a day and enjoy it. Because again, this is something we want you to learn to enjoy, because we want you to do it for the rest of your life. Now, along the lines of exercise or activities is also changing it up a little bit, doing different things, kind of stimulates the mind, but also makes it so they don't become kind of boring or monotonous. So, varying your workouts is an important thing to do. Now, another thing you can do if you're plateaued is really work on increasing your muscle mass. So resistance training is really good for this because obviously as you increase your muscle mass, you're going to increase your metabolism. So indirectly, that's going to have an impact on your weight by increasing your metabolism. Another thing that's real important in your weight loss journey is to manage stress. Obviously stress has an impact on what we eat, because if we're eating because of stress, we may not eat the most healthy things, but also has a big impact on how we metabolize things. So you got to learn to manage your stress, and you're not going to avoid stress, so we've got to learn to manage it, because it does have a big impact on your overall health and wellness, but also has an impact on your weight. Another thing to focus on related to your weight is sleep. You've got to get adequate sleep. So 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night for adults. That's real important. Lots of things happen when you're sleeping that's going to make it so you're able to have a metabolic rate that's improved and your body's running more efficiently. And then obviously with food choices, when you're fatigued, you often make bad food choices. So, getting adequate sleep is extremely important. Then another thing you want to consider is cutting back on alcohol. If you're consuming alcohol, you really need to cut back, just depending on how much you're using and what it is you're consuming. But a lot of alcoholic drinks have a lot of what I would call empty calories. So that margarita may have hundreds of calories that really don't need. So you may want to substitute with something else to drink, or avoid alcohol really altogether. And then you always want to focus on kind of a healthy body image. And this kind of goes back to not being so hard on yourself when things don't work out, but also don't be so hard on yourself with how you currently look. So it's important to, kind of visualize where you want to be. What does it look like in the future when you get to where you want to be, and not be so hard or critical on yourself where you're at now. And so you really want to work to have kind of a healthy body image. So these are some things that I think can help you on your health and wellness journey, specifically related to weight loss. But I think it's important to understand that there's lots of things that impact your weight. And so learning about those things and then learning how you're going to adapt to continue on the path you want is really up to you. Now, there's things we can do to help, but at the end of the day, the work is going to have to be done by you. But it's work that can be enjoyable and pleasant and really produce the results you want. So I want you to keep working at it. That it's a challenging, but there's a lot of payoffs here. And in the end, remember, you've got this. Thank you.